Hey, this is Jim with eduStreamTV. One of my favorite things to do is to pull up a dealer spotlight and to talk to some of our integrators that are working in the school market. I invited Austin from Future Grade to join us because Austin has joined us in the past with some sports production shows, NDI workflows, and he's doing a lot of work into the education marketplace as well. So, Austin, thank you for being our guest once again on one of these shows.
Hey, Jim. Thanks so much for having us. Love it every time. Always cover so much great new ground and learn so many new things. And hopefully everything we share can help the viewers as well.
And that ultimately is our goal. We are talking to the education marketplace today. This is the first time that you've joined us for an EduStream show. So why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself and Future Grade to our audience?
Absolutely. Thanks. Yeah. So my name is Austin James Smith. I'm the founder of Future Grade Technologies. Future Grade builds cutting edge broadcast, podcast, all-in-one studios and production systems for schools, brands, businesses, celebrities, you name it. And then we like to think that we put automation at the core of everything. So our main goal is to make the live production experience as easy as possible for our clients so that they're pretty much reducing all their controls down to a few buttons, few processes. So anyone in their business, anyone in their show can do it and with as few people as possible.
So you're the one that used the word celebrity, not me. Go ahead, drop a name for us.
Yeah, and so we're known for building Pat McAfee's Thunderdome studio, yep. 25 4K cameras, all Panasonic. Many of the gear, much of the gear that we'll be talking today, we use. Yeah, we love the stuff we use. We love what Broadfield carries too, and Panasonic, Atomos, Netgear. It's all part of it.
And Matt, I'm glad you said that because one of the things I'm going to ask you to do today is, as we talk about some of these case studies, is to highlight some of the equipment that you guys rely on to do some of the installations. And I do want to mention, we talked about the Pat McAfee show, which really is a video podcast. It's a video talk show. That is the exact type of stuff that schools of all sizes are looking to get into with their production systems. One of the biggest questions we get in the EduStream marketplace is, how do I build a system? How do my teachers, my production team, and our students use systems that are the same as what the broadcasters are using in the industry? And that's how an integrator like Future Grade can really step in and help, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It makes me think. I went to University of Colorado personally, and it's really cool. We have this like alumni organization now where it's basically UC buffs in entertainment in Los Angeles, and we all keep in touch. And it's incredible the amount of video production and classes and just overall how much our field is being brought into education. And then, of course, with COVID, that was maybe the biggest game changer there was for virtual education, remote learning. So now we're more intertwined than we've ever been with education. And of course, we've had some cool work we've done with a lot of educators and schools as well.
Awesome. And let's run through the list of some of the services and some of the things that Future Grade can do for the audience joining.
Totally. Yeah. So, the first and foremost is, ensuring that everything is expertly managed and that you get the attention you need as a client. Creating a blueprint or the workflow so that the entire schemata end to end, exactly how your studio is going to work, is also essential. And that's kind of where some of our more proprietary automated workflows come into play. We also custom build everything to our clients. So we recognize there's different price range, different needs. So we take something we've done very well and then we modify and build it to you so that everything you need is literally built into that package, that studio, that system and tool. And then, of course, a bunch of other fun stuff. We help our clients get off the ground too and understand how to best use this content they're creating. So that way they can really see the gains from it.
And Austin, I just ran into you at the NAB, National Association of Broadcasters show out in Vegas, and one of the terms that comes up constantly when we talk about the live production systems is not just the ability to work with system integrators like yourself, but solution architects, people who can sit there and start by addressing your needs, mapping them out through a workflow solution, and then taking that solution on paper and turning it into a live production studio where you can use that equipment that was designed for that workflow, right?
Totally. I think you nailed that. We've been talking about that a lot recently in the shop, that a lot of times for clients, it's it's very hard to grasp the first steps, right? It's a daunting task to try to take on these technical workflows yourself. But once we can architect solutions and show them the blueprint and how things, basically flow in this workflow, then it stops becoming so esoteric to them, and it's something they can grasp easier. And then, of course, we do our best to bring all that functionality into the tiniest, simplest user interface that and user experience overall.
Right. And that all has to match whatever the goal for the school is. What are some of those goals? What are some of the challenges that you're hearing from schools today?
Yeah, so obviously, kind of what I just went over there. Where to begin? What cameras are best for their needs, right? Like,
Yep.
If we're in a classroom, do we need this level of PTZ camera? How are we going to bring these feeds back for publishing? How are we going to encode them? How is all the wiring and systems going to work in terms of just logistics themselves? And then, what's the best way to start teaching the kids how to use it?
Right.
And ultimately, what types of use cases should we focus on too? So there's a whole gamut. I mean, it really is maybe one of the better intersections I'm seeing right now for what we do. And we're looking to go after it pretty hard here in the coming years, because there's just so much potential for it. And as this technology progresses and grows and media decentralizes, there's going to be a need for a lot of more workforce in video production space. And that's where these kids can learn how to do it as well.
Absolutely. And I think one of the best ways to learn that is from the success of projects that you've been involved in the past. So I asked you to share some recent case studies with us, and I'm going to go over with you some of the work that you've done with the Orange County Department of Education, UltraMed Healthcare, and Pearson Education. So let's start with Orange County Department of Education. Can you tell us and our audience a little bit about this project, Austin?
Yeah, I was almost kind of blown away by the level of production that they do.
Really?
They and their requirements and requests. They have an incredible in-house media team over there already, which to our team over here was like, wow, this is we're so happy to see that this level of production is being brought into a Department of Education, and that's just Orange County. So you can imagine across the the whole of U.S. that they're realizing how important it is to have the best possible gear for these productions, and that they need to do it right. They need to be able to reach an audience. They need to hold these different seminars, different ways for parents to interact with teachers. It's incredible the amount of stuff that OCDE does. And then, of course, we built a tailored solution exact to their needs. And for them, that means they're going around to different auditoriums, different schools. I mean, they manage, thousands of schools in California. And basically, we built them these fly packs where, again, everything's all in one, all encompassing. We've got, Netgear in there as always. We've got our, Teradek Prism. We even got Teradek 4K wireless systems there too, because they have roaming cameras sometimes in these auditoriums. So it was so cool to see that. Okay, these guys are using the same gear that we are, and their level of production is incredibly important, and they're investing into it. So I hopefully that sets the bar for other departments of education and universities that look, this is here to stay, and yeah, this media you create with these tools is extremely important.
So, Austin, I have to ask you about this case study because you talked about how involved and qualified and experienced their production team is. We get a lot of our audience joining us saying, I need to get involved in live production. I don't know where to start. For that person, it's very easy to pick up the phone, call an integrator, and to start having that conversation. But for a school like this that has these valuable resources already in place, what is some of the value that Future Grade adds to what they already do and what they know?
For sure. So I think part of it is that they might have systems, that they've put together over a decade, and for us, when they need an upgrade and they need everything to work for a full multi-camera system, and they need it to work within a week or two, that's where they know they can come to Future Grade, and that, instead of a decade, we can take a couple of weeks to build the full stack of everything they could possibly need.
Yep.
And then as well, although they're more primarily focused on the production itself and less on the integration or these technical workflows, and also just being aware of what is the latest and greatest equipment that's out there right now. How is our, current production flow potentially inefficient? What can be done to upgrade it? How do we bring ourselves back up to the level that we're seeing from our competitors or other, educators, and we're there as an asset that way. That the experts, so to speak, that even with really people that really know what they're doing still need help, that way.
Absolutely. And I think especially in the school market, you don't always have access to the full budget for the full project at one time. So sometimes the decisions are as easy as, this is the budget that's available this year. How do we get the investment started? And where do we grow to over time to ultimately end up with something that is going to increase our production capabilities and give us the long-term service and reliability that we need? So these are some of those decisions that you can help shape along the way, right?
Exactly. And that's a great point, because, one thing we say too is that, everything we build is built to be scalable and built on top of. Right. So, using the analogy of building a home, right? We always try to build that sturdy foundation that will support all of your future equipment, knowing that, sure, next year when some of the newer stuff does come out, you're going to be building on top of a foundation that's always usable. It's always valuable to you. And sometimes what they find is just that they need to keep that unit. They just need to scale, because it's working. So that they need more. They need more units. And I think that's probably what we're going to be seeing. That's the the pulse I'm getting from this industry, is that it's growing fast, and not the opposite.
Absolutely. And now in the case study, the next case study we're talking about with Ultimate Healthcare, we're talking about education from a slightly different perspective. In the healthcare industry, one of the most important things to do is to have continual education and professional development. That's why you will see a lot of hospitals sponsored by local universities, and a lot of hospitals are teaching hospitals, and they all go hand in hand. So a lot of the things that you can produce in a healthcare environment is going to marry what needs to be done in an educational environment in a traditional high school or university, right?
Exactly. I would say they're very similar. The use cases are very similar. We tell brands and businesses this all the time. Ultimate is actually a non-for-profit, but video as a tool isn't just limited to production or marketing content. You can use video to train your staff. You can use your video for product demos. You can use video to communicate to your entire team in an authentic and organic way. You can use these video tools to call into a video call into Zoom, look great, sound great, represent your brand well, because we know now that this virtual avatar of ourselves is incredibly important, and it's a direct representation of Ultimate, of OCDE. So, now these tools have become not only just incredibly important, but versatile. And I think that's a lot of the education we do with our clients, saying, look, you're not just using this for a one-stop shop. Like, this is a tool to be used across all platforms, vertical, horizontal. And that's with Ultimate, that's the studio we built. For them, I was blown away at the level of studio they were ready to have and that they felt that they needed. We've already had their CEO in there, many times doing Zoom calls, doing, basically press briefings, communication to his team, a lot of the things that I just explained. So they already know how to use it and how to wield this weapon well. And of course, it's a state-of-the-art studio too. All remote controlled lighting. Of course, again, we stick to our bread and butter with Atomos monitors, Netgear switches. Prism is in there too for encoding. So we use what we know, what we use in this studio right here we have, because it's the best. So.
And one of the things that stood out to me is you're using a combination of both PTZ cameras and Bask cameras to really kind of create that full studio environment, allowing them the flexibility of using the right camera at any time, right?
That's a great point. We like the PTZ camera for that forward-facing, CEO camera, so that depending on who it is in front of that camera A, we can really get it focused and trained on them correctly, height, whatever it is, punching in, punching out, makes it easier. But then also the box cameras let us swap lenses and get that full frame look where we can get a little more depth of field and give it a little more artistic look as well, so that when they want to do a fireside chat or something like that with multiple people, we can get some either camera A angles that look great with depth behind them, and also the side shots too. So I just love having both of those in the arsenal. And then of course they're both Panasonic cameras, so they match up quite well, and we can match them, live for them as well. So.
And that's great. And I know in the school environment, a lot of times the same production system can be used for multiple projects, whether you're screening a staged production where you're going to want the interchangeable lenses and the depth of field, or a keynote address or a video conferencing address or a webinar of some kind where any camera can focus on the subject. You can have a PTZ to follow them up and across the stage, but that depth of field and the cinema quality becomes less important as just capturing the content. So being able to mix and match for the right project and the right environment really gives you that flexibility to get exactly what you need.
Totally.
And then the last case study we wanted to talk about was Pearson Education. This is more of that conference room application. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys did here?
Yeah, so this was a bit more of an actual live setup, a live repeatable setup. It happened right at the beginning of COVID, where something that's interesting about Pearson is that they've been in virtual education since 2001, which I was extremely surprised to see, and just blown away again that they were so ahead of the curve that this was coming. And then, as we all know, COVID comes and it just absolutely rocketed their use case and their investment. And we built them these kind of all-in-one PTZ systems so that the CEO and other executives could interface with their entire team during that period, and basically let them know what the plan is moving forward. That, look, guys, this is our time now. It's time to scale. Yep. Virtual education is about to become the most important thing, in the U.S. in regards to education. This is going to potentially save, our students, to ensure that they can keep learning, remote learning during this challenging time. And yeah, so for us, it was that culmination of all the remote products we've built, all the live production, to start making these kind of all-in-one systems that are easier to use and allow, people like Pearson to start bringing their use case or their whole investment, their theory to life. and bring it to life in the most state-of-the-art, updated way with all the latest and greatest.
No, absolutely. And I think one of the things we've seen over the last 5 years too is how this is expanding the reach and the courses available to university age students, high school students, or even just developing education. I mean, there is really no topic or class that you can think of that there is not going to be some video content somewhere online that you can access, whether it's learning a separate language or understanding how to do live video production. There are lots of tools out there, lots of content out there. So this is all part of getting this stuff going together.
Absolutely. And I think, the better the production is of these classes, the more engaged the students are, right?
Yep.
The more it looks like either what they watch or what what they're used to seeing on maybe YouTube or even broadcast TV, the higher the production value, the more they feel like, first off, that they're getting value out of what they're learning. And secondly, they're going to be more engaged. So that's why I do think it is important as virtual learning continues to grow and remote learning. You got to compete. It's got to look good. It's got to, we all know how hard it is to keep, the youth, especially younger kids, engaged now, right? Especially with your attention span. So, that's why we lean on the type of gear we do.
Absolutely.
And I saw you bringing up that slide. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's a common thread is as we talk about the different case studies, there are obviously going to be products that are a thread across it because you've had the experience, they're reliable, they're going to work well for your clients and for your customers. And with that, you're always measuring the flexibility of, is this the right product for this customer or that product? Throughout these different projects, what are some of the products that you do lean on? What is some of the technology that you look for to really help set these production systems up?
For sure. So, obviously, I've gone over a bunch of them already, and it took us a long time to make these decisions. This wasn't easy. When it comes to Panasonic PTZ, whether it's UE150 or we're talking about a box camera. That took us, we evaluated every option there was because we wanted remote control. We wanted to have software that actually interfaced with the hardware where we could control the cameras remotely. And then, of course, having incredible cinema quality look as well, being able to swap lenses, and then all the other features that come with Panasonic. Right now, we're shooting on a S5 2X Lumix camera, which I absolutely love. The autofocus on it is incredible. Again, it's full frame. This one you can shoot ProRes to now. So it's come such a long way. And along with those tools, especially in something like a classroom or an auditorium, you really need to leverage the network. Right. So a lot more network-based, workflows and protocols, NDI, of course, and having the option to both have SDI and NDI also important for us because you never know what type of different setup you might enter into. And again, that's kind of the flexibility we want to offer them, right? That they're not just signing up for something that's, permanently affixed and can't be modular and used in a different way. Of course, Atomos monitors, we love them. We can capture directly to them. You can capture multiple camera feeds directly to a single monitor. Now with Cloud Connect, we can be capturing and as, for something like a class, you can be capturing to an Atomos monitor and uploading the footage to something like frame.io or Dropbox in real time. And that just simplifies the whole workflow for a teacher, for the faculty, staff. It helps save money. It helps save time. So that's true functionality, unlocking new possibilities for all of our clients, and especially within education.
And I know I just saw you at a trade show last week. So you're still evaluating the products, always looking for something new, always looking for different solutions, and also taking these solutions and integrating them into packages and designs that you can offer as more of a cookie cutter setup for some of your different clients, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The manufacturers of this gear really help us shape our products. So the cooler they make the new tech, and the more functionality they offer us, then we can bring it to our clients and say, hey, here's the new use case for you. Here's
Right.
how you unlock new business opportunities and grow and convert your audience.
Right.
And yeah, that I think the Studio Node Mini is a perfect example of that for us. One of our remote tools that is also great for education, for having a teacher maybe who's not on site or not on campus, and they need to have that level of quality where they're communicating to their students, staff, whoever, and also they can focus on teaching, and someone can remote into the Studio Node, which is what makes it so cool. It's always online, with built-in 5G cellular bonding. So they could have another staff member control the camera remotely, make sure they're in focus, make sure they're sounding great. They can focus on teaching. And then of course, when they're done, they can pack it up and throw it in the overhead and head to the next place. So
Right.
that for us has been, a great product where it was there to solve a specific problem, but still offer the highest possible quality and making it as simple as possible to just get your incredible looking video out there to the world and not have to worry about anything else.
Absolutely. And when you add that production capability outside of the individual classroom or beyond the individual campus, it really does open an opportunity not just to do more from the production world, but to access additional budgets and capabilities that might help offset the expense of some of this equipment, allowing your teachers, students, and AV departments to really enter a complete remote production world that can allow them to broadcast and do these videos from anywhere. And
Exactly.
I think that's one of the big questions that comes up too from schools is how do I get started? How do I look to make some of these decisions? And where can Future Grade kind of step in and help them along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first and foremost, you want to identify what the end goal is. Who are you trying to reach? What are, something I tell our clients as well as what are references of something you're seeing that you think is a great fit or a great match for what you're hoping to do, and then you can bring something like that to us. And you can also, come to us and or a systems integrator like ourselves and basically just lay out, spitball, give us all your ideas, and we will help formulate the strategy, right? And then what we like to do is provide a lot of different options, like 3 tiers. Here's your, basically bronze, gold, bronze, silver, gold type packages where you do have budget optionality, and then understanding the different functionality you get with each package, knowing that, look, if I start simple, if I start smaller, I can always scale up on top of this of what we already own. And then, we'll help you accomplish those goals and realize what you're trying to do. And I think what you're going to learn is that there's way more potential to using these tools than maybe you set out, what you originally thought, and a lot of different other monetization opportunities and ways to not only, create revenue, but to create new programs. So I think you need to have the tools and to experiment with them to understand where you can go.
And I know Future Grade has put in a lot of time and investment in not only building these systems for different clients across different industries, but in keeping up with the products in the industry, the certifications and the training and the tools to make them all work seamlessly together in these environments, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's people. If you're running a business, you're running a university, or running a classroom, you don't really have time to stay on top of all the new technology. Being at NAB, like I was saying, it's almost overwhelming the amount of new stuff out there.
Yeah.
But that's our job, right? That's what we're here to do. And the biggest reason we stay on top of this is to unlock new use cases for our clients and to make your production process more efficient. Our goal is to drive your costs down with our tools while driving production value up, of course. So
Awesome.
yeah, but we love it. We love staying on the nerd tip and making sure we know the latest and greatest.
And we love having you on the show. Austin, thank you so much for joining us. For the EduStream audience, if you have any questions for Austin or the Future Grade team, you can email them to them directly, teams@future-grade.com. You can put them here in the chat, in the comments. We will try to answer what we can, and we will get it over to Future Grade to help you out as well. If you would like to learn more about any of their turnkey production solutions, or start talking about your production needs and how Future Grade can help, you can reach out to them directly too. Future Grade can be reached at 424-218-9810. Austin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Jim. Always a pleasure.
Stay tuned for more EduStream TV.